welcome to the Big Bite. Here with Sunny and Shay on BritAsia TV, a show that gives you a bit of entertainment, a bit of film, and most definitely someone famous.
All of that to come a little bit later on in the show, but as we always do, we never shy away from topics that you want to hear about. If you would like to talk to us and you'd like to share your opinions on some of the taboo topics that we cover on the show, then you can email us. It's info@BritAsia.tv, or you can tweet live at Sunny and Shay. Joining us in the studio today, we have Sarvat Sahel, who is a representative of the charity Roshni, which provides refuge to women of domestic abuse. Thank you so much for coming in on the show, Sarvat. Today, we want to focus specifically on the topic of dowry. For anyone who's not familiar with what dowry is, could you explain that for us?
Dowry is generally, it's a sum. It could be sum of money, it could be land, it could be gold. It's a range of property that, is given from the bride side to the groom side.
Okay, so
it's quite simply
now,
putting it.
I know that in Pakistan and India, I don't know about the UK, you can enlighten me on this, but it's illegal to ask for a dowry and then to give one as well. Either party could be imprisoned for such an act. So why is there an issue in the United Kingdom, or is there still an issue in India as well?
Well, the problem is, okay, let's focus on South Asia to begin with, and
let's
then
do that. Okay.
apply. Well, since 1961, it's been outlawed in India. Since 1964, and the most recent act in Pakistan has been 2008.
Right.
Not only is giving of a dowry outlawed, but also displaying the dowry, which a lot of people do on weddings, actually show this is what we've given or they've given. So it has been outlawed. The problem is that it's a rubber stamping exercise,
right,
is the way I look at it. There is no real measures to make sure that those laws are then implemented. Firstly, if you look at, I've come across weddings where you've got people from both the political hierarchy and also from the criminal justice system attending these weddings where these dowries are openly displayed. So they are aware that these issues are happening.
So you say that these weddings, they openly display the dowry. Now,
absolutely.
Here's where the grey area is for me, and I'm sure for most of our listeners as well.
Our viewers.
Our viewers, is that if there's a dowry and it's been displayed, isn't that also a gift that's given to the daughter who's going to a new home, or a gift from the family to the other family, which in our tradition is quite obvious because we feed and we do give. So that's where the grey area is for me. Where do you draw the line that is a dowry and this is a gift?
I think small minority of cases what you're describing is correct, because you've got I think the good intention of giving a gift to your daughter to start her life is positive. And yes, however, the problem is that that system is being abused. And that's where the money is exchanging hands between the parents of the bride to the in-laws. And I think in order to protect women, I think the giving of gifts on weddings should be outlawed completely, and that definition should be made stronger, that any gift that is given should be, and I think we have to get as harsh as that to be able to, to eradicate the
harsh,
issue.
But there's the bit that we haven't addressed is the reason why. Dowry abuse is taking place not only in South Asia but here in the UK. Can you give us some examples of what that means? Because a lot of people may be surprised to hear that actually women who end up getting married can become victims because of just the fact that either they didn't bring any dowry with them or the dowry that they brought wasn't enough.
Okay, let me give you an example. The typical case that we hear in the UK and some of the main cases that I've come across, you've got, say, a male from this country with a British passport. There are, obviously young girls, parents who see that as, a step up if their daughter could actually marry somebody, say, from Australia, from Europe. They will then agree to demands by the boy's side saying, this is how much we expect. They'll say yes, hoping that as things progress, they won't ask for that dowry. The girl enters this country and then it's the pressure builds up. Can you ring up your parents? Can you ask them to give the money or the property that they promised? well, that property doesn't really exist because the parents probably made that promise in order to secure that proposal. So now they can't pay. Where does that leave that particular young girl? And that's where abuse starts. And it's led to women taking their own lives.
Wow.
There's no records here in the UK. However, if you look at some of the records in India, even I do believe they are even underreported. But you've got a woman is burning herself every hour. Every hour, a woman is burning herself as a result of dowry demands.
You've got in the UK, the statistics don't focus on dowry, but what we do know here is that suicide rates among women,
it's
3 times higher than any other woman, you know, from any other minority background here in the UK. South Asian women are killing themselves, and threefold in comparison to other women. So it's happening. Part of that could be, as you say, kind of dowry abuse. But where do we go from here then? What are we saying? Is it just women coming from India, or is it actually happening to women who are born and brought up in this country?
It is happening to girls. That was just a bare example I used. It's the same here. You know, promises are made of dowry, and then when those promises are not met, then it's the girl who gets it in the neck. And I think she's the one that is actually then dealing with the consequences afterwards. We have had young girls, highly educated in this country, for the same reasons as domestic abuse. The pressure is placed upon them. Divorce is still frowned upon within our community, so nobody wants their marriage to end, so they will take the abuse and carry on for as long as they can, or take their own lives, as we've seen.
Now, we've already got the law on our side. It's illegal to do this, and yet it's still going on since the 60s. And so what do we do? How do we move forward?
But we don't have the law in this country to protect these women.
Okay.
Okay. For example, if there was some physical pressure, not physical, mental pressure on a young girl placed on, she commits suicide, can you tell me what laws she would come under?
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
What I'm asking is that we know this is going on, right?
Yeah.
Especially this is something inherited from our generations from India, and still from some people who come from India. So how do we then move forward? Because in India it's illegal. It's illegal. Where we're saying that it stemmed from, it's illegal in that country, and yet somehow it's here in England, and it's...
Well, many countries have already taken a leading role. You've got Australia, you've got Greece, who've already outlawed dowry, and I think Britain should follow those footsteps. I think it's something
here's my question. It didn't work in India for all these years. How will it make it difference here in the United Kingdom if we get a law saying dowry is illegal? If it's not working in the country where you say it's originated from, then how will it make a difference in this country?
Well, the thing is, I believe that law in itself does not protect victims. Right. It's the enforcement, okay? In India, if they took simple steps as strategic awareness of the fact, a lot of people don't know these laws exist. That's awareness. If they created a free helpline where people could ring anonymously and report the dowry or the abuse, there's a lot of things that they could do to ensure implementation. And I don't think there is real interest in making those proposals implemented. I think it's a rubber stamping exercise in those countries to show the global, the wider world that we are, you know, human rights.
We're stopping.
We're stopping it. We're doing something. In reality, those that are actually pushing forward these legislations in these houses of parliament are the biggest perpetrators. So how are these perpetrators going to go and then eradicate something that they strongly believe in? They are probably the actual perpetrators who are going out there saying, my son, oh, how about you give me this much dowry? How are they going to actually implement?
So how do we focus for a moment on this country? If someone's watching BritAsia TV right now, has been a victim of this, perhaps is even planning a wedding and having these conversations right now, perhaps the son doesn't want it or the daughter doesn't want it, but the parents are the ones who are saying, well, this is what we do. What piece of advice would you give to them?
Dowry abuse is a form of domestic abuse, and any service that deals with domestic abuse should actually support these victims. And I believe that once you do go to these DV projects, make sure that you tell them what form of domestic abuse that you are suffering, in order that they could now start to record the kind of domestic abuse. And the problem we're facing is that when you look at a lot of the records that are coming through, a lot of women take domestic abuse. We, I think, need to start recording what kind of domestic abuse. Is it forced marriage? Is it dowry related? And we need to build up the pressure here in the UK for laws to outlaw dowry abuse, and not just laws to outlaw the abuse, but it's about having a strategic, looking at it strategically. It's about how we're going to make the public aware of those laws, how we're going to ensure implementation.
So if anyone wants to get in touch with Roshni and perhaps, try to understand if they themselves are being coerced into something they don't want, perhaps they right now may well be suffering from domestic abuse because of dowry claims. What's the website details so they can touch base with Roshni?
Okay. The Roshni's website is Roshni Birmingham. That's ROSHNI, Birmingham.org.uk is the website, and on there you do have the contact details for the refuge.
Thank you very much for coming in, and we're going to go straight into the break, and we'll be right back with more.
This is power. This is energy. This is Bhangra. Let's have fun. Let's learn Bhangra.